Today we set our focus on a drink that is fruity, woody and has an essence of vanilla and caramel. Yes, today we look at rum, but not just any rum. This is a rum produced in Mpumalanga. Hello and welcome to another episode of Shepherd Surfer, the Mpumalanga edition. If one says rum, it might evoke images of pirates in the 1600s drinking their favorite beverage. But rum has come a long way, and we no longer have to import the glass from the West Indies. We have some of the best rums right here in Mpumalanga. Today we travel to an old farm building between some of the oldest mountains on earth at the Kruger National Park to meet Robert Greaves.
Moba rum is a pure single rum. It's kind of like a single malt whiskey, I guess, in rum terms. It has no additives in that it's just rum and extracts from oak aging in barrels. We add no sugar, no colorants, no flavorants. It's pure rum. Another important aspect of Moba rum is that it's a true farm-to-bottle product in that we grow our own sugar cane from scratch. We do grow cane that goes to the sugar mill, which is grown with commercial fertilizers. All of the sugar cane used for our rum production is grown organically. So we are using only organic fertilizers and water on the sugar cane that's used for our rum. So we plant the sugar cane, we grow the sugar cane, we harvest the sugar cane, we detrash the sugar cane by pulling all the leaves off manually. Sugar cane is then juiced in a machine that we built ourselves. The juice is then allowed to ferment with the wild yeast and microbes that live on the sugar cane. Once fermentation is completed, and that takes anything between a week and a month, the fermentation process, then the juice gets put into our stills, which we built ourselves, and then the distillation process converts the beer or wine into a more concentrated alcohol, which is then rum, a white rum. All spirits originate white, so a lot of people have this idea that brandy or whiskey comes out of the still as a brownish sort of colored liquid. So the white rum is then sold as white rum or blended and sold as white rum, or it's put into oak barrels for aging. There's a lot of options in terms of maturation. There's French oak, there's American oak, there's bourbon, ex-bourbon barrels, ex-cognac barrels. And it's the most valuable rum is aged rum. There is a market for some crazy, wild, interesting white rums now, but generally speaking, people want aged rums, and aged rums are the most sought-after products worldwide. We do what's called wild fermentation. We don't add commercial yeast to our rum making process. We squeeze the sugar cane and get the juice out of the sugar cane. And during that process, the juice in the sugar cane gets exposed to the wild yeast that live on the outside of the sugar cane. If you look on the outside of the stick of cane, there is a white sort of waxy looking layer, which is actually wild yeast. And if you scratch it off like here with my thumb, you can actually see the wild yeast which lives on the outside of the sugar cane. So this is what ferments our wash and ends up making our rum. We initially had our packaging done by a large packaging provider in Johannesburg who printed boxes and some of the other packaging requirements for us. I wasn't satisfied with the results, and the price I found quite exorbitant for the quality of the packaging we got. So we soon started producing our own cardboard boxes and printing our own labels. This, I found we get superior quality in terms of what we're producing, and it also allows us a lot more flexibility in terms of printing customized labels with customers' names on them and limited bottlings where the bottles are individually numbered. We're more able and flexible to accommodate customer-specific needs. Unfortunately, we don't have much distribution in South Africa. We export most of our rums, largely to Paris, and then it goes from Paris to the rest of Europe. We also have some sales in Australia, Canada, North America, and Taiwan now. We are in some isolated bottle stores around the country, but it's very few and far between. So generally speaking, the best way is to look on our website or to contact us directly and to order from the distillery.
Where does the name Morba come from? Morba rum. Where does it come from?
Well, when I started making rum and I had to think of a name for it, I started thinking obviously about sugarcane related things because my rum is made out of sugarcane, and living on a sugarcane farm, one of the most sort of frequently heard words at work is the word Morba, which is a slang kind of term for sugarcane, and it's come from the Zulu word M-O-B-A, which is Morba, said Morba, and the Siswati word, which is Umhoba. So they've kind of morphed them and joined them and made a term Morba.
Why did you decide to go organic? What is the reasoning behind that?
Well, it's kind of been an evolution and a thing we've grown into. We've gone through several kind of identity crises since we started making rum. I initially started making rum hoping to sell it to the locals at making a fairly affordable, low-cost product for the masses. Unfortunately, that didn't really take on, and we tried to market it to local people. They didn't particularly like it or understand it or want to try it. And oddly enough, I started getting interest from sort of more sophisticated, well-to-do people, lawyers, pilots, senior business people, started to be more interested in my rum, people with sort of sophisticated palates in wine and food, and they started to appreciate the rum and like the rum, and we got more and more advanced. And then I eventually went overseas and showed our rum overseas, and I learned more and more about rum and realized that it would be a value add and a sort of progression for us to go organic and to do things the way we do.
So you utilize your own sugarcane on your own farm, and you then manufacture rum.
Yes,
so
that's right.
do you burn your sugarcane, or how does it work? Do you use it before you burn?
We used to, until I realized that was a faux pas and something one should not do. It adds a lot to the sort of character and sense of place for the rum if it's not burnt, because the little organisms that live on the sugarcane, the yeast and the bacteria that naturally live on the sugarcane stalk, influence the flavor of a rum and give it a terroir, as the French would say, a sort of provenance and a taste which is linked back to where it comes from and where it was grown, how it was grown, and a sense of place, basically, as I say. And so, no, we don't burn the sugarcane anymore. We did in the early days, but we have not done so for the last 5 or 6 years.
So where did you learn from?
The biggest way I learned, I guess, was trial and error. I started making some very horrible rum in the beginning. It was revolting stuff. And it got slightly less revolting and slightly less revolting. And
now it's for the sophisticated palate.
And after several months, my brother, who is quite knowledgeable in terms of whiskey, came to visit me and tried some. And he said, "Rob, your rum's really quite good. You should sell it." And yeah, soon after that, I started the process to apply for the license and eventually got it. And then, yeah, Morba was born. And we, as I say, we keep growing, we keep evolving.
So it's obviously not been plain sailing.
No, not by any means. It's been very expensive. I often tell people that this is probably the most expensive hobby in the world. It would be cheaper to fly around the world and play golf on the finest golf courses in the world. It would be cheaper to do that than to start making rum.
But why are you still doing it?
I love it. And it is starting to pay me back. I must admit the first 6 or 7 years have been very expensive, but the money is starting to come back as we establish a name overseas and a bit of a reputation.
Tell us about your global awards. Come.
Yeah, we've been very lucky to win several awards. We've particularly this rum over here, yes, which is our French cask. It's our most acclaimed rum. We've won spirits awards in Berlin, in Paris, in Martinique. And Martinique is the home of sugarcane rum. Martinique is well, one of the main French islands, and it's seen as the home of sugarcane juice rum, or rum agricole as the French call it. So they're rather fussy about their sugarcane juice rum there. So I was very proud to win a gold medal at a competition in Martinique.
Tell me, what is your short-term strategic plans for the next, say, year?
They keep changing with load shedding. I've kind of changed tack recently and started to try and think about how I can actually make electricity out of sugarcane, which is quite possible. There's a way of fermenting the leftover sugarcane after the rum making process to produce methane gas, and then the methane gas can run a generator, and then you make rum and electricity at the same time. So it keeps changing, as I say, but ultimately I'd like to grow the brand. I never want to get massive. I don't want it to be a big brand. We will never be a supermarket product. We will always be a boutique product. But we can get considerably bigger and still be boutique. So I'd like to grow it and make some money out of my rum. It would make me very proud to make a living entirely from making rum.
Robert, thank you so much for joining us on the sofa today. It was lovely and insightful to spend time with you explaining to us what an absolute important role rum plays in the global industry. I didn't know. You taught me a couple of things. Robert Greaves is a true master distiller with his hands-on approach from growing sugarcane to bottling, and we wish him luck for the future as rum from Mpumalanga is exported around the world. That's all for today. Join us next time.